pass to Johnson. Johnson still going. Dummies again. Johnson. Into the one to Brown. Brown goes in to score.
Oh, he's serving it down the touchline. Oh, this is unbelievable. They're going to win it. Oh, what scenes here, what scenes. LeBron James, a shot at history. LeBron stands alone. The NBA's all-time scoring record now belongs to LeBron James.
All right, River Up, time to rip in. Surly Talk Sports. Huge pot ahead, of course. Made the trip to Sydney last weekend, which was bloody good fun. Went to Brookvale. Unfortunately, we didn't get the result, but plenty to recap there. Parked up at the pub to watch the Wallabies beat the Pumas on the Saturday, then rolled that into the All Blacks versus Springboks too. Had a nice little win on the Pokies too. Shout out to the Aussie Pokies. Jeez, do they hit hard. Great to see the All Blacks, though, defend the fortress against the Boks, our biggest rugby rivals, and the lads rose to the occasion in what looked like an elite atmosphere at Eden Park. Now we roll into finals footy in the NRL. The NFL, that's back as well. There's so much sport to punt on at the moment. Had a couple nice wins on last weekend too. Green ticks on bet slips. You love to see it. On that, of course, your code for this week, TAB code, courtesy of the legends at the TAB New Zealand. This week, the code is TRY20. So try and then the numbers 20. Place an anytime try scorer bet on the NRL this week, and if it loses, get up to $20 back as bonus cash. That limit of one per customer. So chuck the code TRY20 into the promo section, then have a flutter on an anytime try scorer like Alasima, Xavier Coates, Simi Sasagi if you want to get leery, Harry Grant. Why not? Get around it. If your player doesn't score, you get your money back in bonus cash up to $20. How good. I know everyone loves those codes. So cheers to the TAB. And if you're not already a customer, download the app, head along to their website. You guys know the drill. And as always, please gamble responsibly. But loads to tick off today. Menu jam-packed as always. Kicking things off with the great game, Rugby League, Big Fizz. Well, finals footy is here. It all comes down to this. Just 8 teams left for the other 9. She's Mad Monday. Seems like some teams really got around it too, which is always great to see. A tradition that hopefully long lasts in Rugby League God's game. Before we rip into this week's games, though, 4 good ones to sink the teeth into. Let's have a quick look over last week's results. Won't dive into it as much as we have in the past because it's all eyes forward and there were a couple games that meant sweet fuck all. But let's gloss over them anyway. Thursday night, Broncos 30, Storm 14. This one did count. Watch this one at Beach Road in Sydney. Great spot. Spent my Thursday night there, spent my Saturday all day and night there too. Highly recommend if you're making a trip over the ditch. But geez, did the Broncos show up. 30 points to 14, as I mentioned, and they were by far the dominant side. The two sides, they started well. It was close. The Jerome Hughes injury probably turned the game massively, as did the form of the plumber, the toilet water drinker, Reece Walsh. Another clinic from him. Scored 22 of their 30 points, 2 tries, a try assist, kicked a 40-20, made 11 of 11 tackles, including a big one-on-one shot on Xavier Coates to tackle him over the sideline. The kid's in crazy good form. How good was his try celebration too? Really leaning into it. Cup in the water. Double dipped on it too. Did it twice. All the Broncos lads calling him the plumber in the post-match interviews. This bloke just loves the big stage, being the main man, and he's certainly been that over the last few weeks. No Adam Reynolds this week, but it's going to be really interesting when he comes back, if Ezra Mam comes back, just how Madge manages this balance. Because fuck Walshy at the moment, he's their number 1, if not number 2 bloke behind Payne Haas, playing some bloody good code. Interesting tactic from the Broncos too on Xavier Coates. They were basically willing to give away a penalty instead of letting him score. They were basically smothering him. Pretty illegal tactics, but hey, it is what it is, and at the same time, if it saves you 4 points, then teams are absolutely going to do it. So interested to see how Melbourne come up with a strategy to combat that, because, look, not in the fairness of the game, all that type of stuff, spirit of the game, but I thought the Broncos played it well, and in the end they came away with the win, so it's certainly a tactic I think a lot of other teams will look to adapt. For the Storm, this one couldn't have gone worse. Hughes now out for probably the rest of the season, a massive blow for them. Pappenhausen head knock, he'll miss this week with that stand down, and Nelson Asafa-Solomona, another suspension. 3 big losses for the first week of finals footy, if not for longer. And they just look so far from themselves at the moment. 14 errors to 4, 71% completion rate. That's 2 weeks in a row now where they've looked so un-Melbourne-like. I'm interested to see how they bounce back this week. Finals footy, so you expect them to flick a switch. No Hughes, but Grant back, and he will have a massive impact on this side. The Dogs are down a few troops too, so they will certainly be low on confidence as well. Can Melbourne go back to their old ways? Does finals footy click them back into gear? I can't remember a time where a Melbourne Storm side has come into finals off the back of back-to-back losses, and bad losses too, conceding a shit ton of points. Now it's the business end. Are they going to step up, or are they just a little bit off the pace this year? It's going to be interesting to see. Friday night footy, Manly 27, Warriors 26. Won't dive into it too much, just a quickish summary. Was lucky enough to be over in Brookvale, of course, for this one. Made the trip across, even ended up on the field pre-game for a little bit of a pre-game rev-up speech. I've got to say, Brookie, really cool stadium. Has a bit of a grassroots feel to it. I think 17 to 18,000 capacity. It's got the hill, people jammed in, everyone's ripping in on that hill as well, having a bloody good time. Bit of a cauldron. They were giving standing O's to Turbo and Jazz Tavanga as they got sent off. I just thought it felt like a flash grassroots footy stadium and had a cool vibe about it. But what a start this one had. Geez, Fisher Harris scores after 9 seconds. Quickest try in NRL history. Old DCE, the old boy, couldn't see the ball off the kickoff. Think he lost it in the light. They switched him with Tommy Turbo for kickoffs after that too, so clearly it was an old eyes type of situation. Saab then knocks it on. Fisher Harris ends up with it. He dives over. Never in my wildest dreams did I think James Fisher Harris would be the current record holder for the quickest try in NRL history, but you just love to see it. The following 20 minutes after that, it was all Manly. Errors out of our own end, lack of field possession, piggyback penalties, set restarts, and just some good attack from Manly on that left edge. Saw them score 3 pretty quick tries. Again, fans calling for Dallon's head. I will say, look at what's going on inside him. Yes, he had some bad reads as well, but it's not 100% his fault. There's players getting held up on down lines. There's guys getting sucked in, getting caught up on the wrong players. Dell left 2-on-1 or 3-on-1 to make a decision. It's a bloody hard position to be in. When we lost Rocco with that shoulder injury, he then had Lecker as his centre partner too. So circumstances didn't exactly allow for Dell to thrive on defence. He can be better, but it's not all his fault, is all I'm saying. Gutted to lose Rocco, of course, couldn't get that shoulder back in place. I saw some yarn that 7 or 8 different doctors had a crack at trying to relocate it, but he ended up in hospital. You'd have to think now that that's season done. And he has such a big impact for us in the centres, especially defensively. Handy on attack too, but shit, can he lock down an edge? And I'm gutted to see him go. I just feel really sorry for the bloke. He has a horrible injury run. Can't string games together. At least now, I guess, he gets to start his off-season early, do the rehab, and he should be in the building from day one. But yeah, this was a big loss for us. I thought second half we played some better footy, managed to even up the possession and get into the grind, especially that last 25 minutes. We ran in 3 tries to 0. DCE's 76th minute field goal, Manly's only points in the last 30. In the end, that proved to be crucial, off his left boot too. He's a talented old prick. Bang that over right in front of me. Shit, did it piss me off. You could see it coming from a mile away. We did well to pressure him on his right, but he's just so cool, calm and collected. Dropped it on its left and over it went. He kicked a bloody good 40-20 as well, and apart from that opening kickoff blunder, I thought he had a really good game in his farewell. Jazz getting sent off, flicking Roger the finger. That was a real highlight, up to his usual tricks. Old Jazzy T in his final game in the NRL. Tommy Turbo, as I said, he got sent too. Both got standing O's from the Manly faithful. I do think in the end, Manly were probably the better team. We had the chance to win this. Few missed conversions at the same time. Would have felt like we stole the win a little bit. And if you're completely honest, this game was pretty average quality. I do give the Warriors a big pass though. Heading into this one, nothing to play for. Broncos won the night before, so it ensured we couldn't get the top 4. And I also have to say, the refereeing in this game, pretty abysmal. Chance basically got his head taken off contesting a high ball. That was waved as play on, I think. That Manly try, that was a double movement if he even crossed the line. There was no way that that was a try. But hey, we swallow it, we move on. Finals footy focus. Standouts for me though, got to give a shout out to Healy. 64 minutes, a try, 84 run meters on 9 runs, 7 tackle breaks, 42 tackles, won me a multi too. Actually put a Leary one on pre-game. Bullymore into Healy, paying 47-1. That made the loss hurt way less. That's for sure. Funded the night too at the local Brookvale Brewery, so really enjoyed that. But Healy, I thought he was menacing. By far, him and Aaron Clark are standouts in this game. Aaron Clark, 80-minute shift from him, 192 run meters, 65 PCMs, 41 tackles, just the one miss. What a fucking footballer he is. And Roger, standard 236 run meters from him, 95 PCMs, another great shift from our winger. Overall, we flush it, we march on. Again, went to NRL HQ on Thursday, tried to get into the bunker and have a little word, thought I'd fix the problems. Clearly I hadn't, because the refereeing in this was shite, but hopefully it pays off this week and we gear up now for the Panthers at home. Roosters 36, Bunnies 6, Maki Mark Nawanganetawasi steals the show. 7 tries in 2 weeks, 23 tries in 22 games, the most ever by a rookie in the NRL, and he takes home the top try scorer title too. 8 of those 22 games, he played at centre as well, so you'd have to think if he was on the wing, potentially he scores 25, 26, which would have been a massive effort in his first year of NRL. I thought Teddy was a lead again as well. He's your Dalian winner for sure. 200 run meters, 3 try assists. What a player he is. Got his ass out a couple times in true Teddy fashion. And this wasn't the best Roosters performance of the year, that's for sure. But they were clearly the better side. They were up for this one against their crosstown rivals. They wanted a big shift heading into finals, and they hit the finals peaking. I feel like they do this every year. I think over the last 6 games, they've scored about 220 points, which is huge from them. Their attack is firing, and on their day, they can absolutely go with the best teams in the comp. For the Bunnies, they're probably just happy to get through that game in the season. The injury toll this year has been fucking atrocious. A few positives for them though. Jai Gray, bloody good at fullback this year. Interesting predicament for them next year. Do they play Latrell at centre, Gray at the back? That could be an option. I thought Ashton Ward was really good in the 6 too. Not a player they would have expected to give any minutes. The bloke's still a school teacher. First year, second year out of school. So that was a real bonus. I thought Keon was elite this year at prop. Cam Murray made his way back, played 23 minutes, injury-free as well. Interesting one, Jack Wyden. Really up and down year for him. Of course, he left Canberra to come to the Bunnies to increase his chances of winning a premiership. Canberra, minor premiers, get that into your Jackie boy. No doubt they are cracking up about that. Super Saturday, Dragons 20, Panthers 40. If you watch this game 3 o'clock, I think it was 5 o'clock kickoff here, then you're a real purist. Fair to say I just watched the highlights and that was enough for me. Dragons, they've fallen apart over the last few weeks. Panthers, Cleary, fucking good. Panthers played well. Dragons were ass. That's all that really needs to be said. Titans 36, Tigers 28. Loved seeing this. Kieran Foran's NRL farewell, and the Titans lifted for him, down 28-6, 28-12 at Oranges. They scored 24 unanswered points and win the game 36-28. Brimo carved up at centre. Fuck, I don't know if you've seen the photos too, post-game in the sheds. They're celebrating, singing the team song. Brimo shirtless. Holy shit, is he shredded within an inch of his life. His arms have got the old dick skin veins going on. Man, didn't expect that rig from him, but he was great at centre. Jaden Campbell really good at 7. Beau Fermor really good in the forward pack, and Foran himself, he had a good game as well. Just such a great bloke, a Kiwi great, one of my favourite players to watch. Tough as shit for a half. I think the way he changed his game late in his career, when it looked like he should have retired a few years back, he came back a different player, really changed it. modernised, adapted to the way the game is played now, and I reckon his last few seasons, he's been really good. I don't think that's his final game of footy. I think he'll be in the Kiwis squad, in particular, now that Jerome Hughes probably won't be there, but a good final performance from him in the NRL in Stoke. He didn't leave with a wooden spoon under his belt, because I don't think that would have been fair for him at all. For the Tigers, disappointing second half to finish the season. Yeah, they were much improved, though. The blueprint is certainly there for them as a team to contest for the 8 next year. The May brothers, they've been huge additions. Good to see Talon extend couple years. That's a great get. Api, Bulla, Luai, Taruva. They're building a strong squad, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they can dish up in 2026. Shout out to the young fella on debut as well. Makasini, 18 years old, scored a try in the 15th minute, 166 run meters, 64 PCMs, 3 tackle breaks. He's a big young lad with a massive future, almost To'o-esque in the way he plays. That is big raps, don't want to put pressure on him, but he looked fucking good, and he could definitely be a superstar of the future. Dogs 6, Sharkies 24. Caught up with Josh Curran for Brecky when I was over there. He was up and about for this game. The Dogs really wanted to go after it. Seraldo resting no one. They targeted this one as a way to make a statement heading into finals, but unfortunately, the Sharkies, they were the ones getting the dub. They've won 7 of their last 8 games. Post that round 18 bye I think they had, playing some good code and flying under the radar for me. It's worrying times for the Dogs. They just don't look dangerous on attack at all. It's clearly not clicking with the changes they've made, and now they're going to have to deal with some players out for this week too. This game couldn't have gone worse for them. Bronson Cherry gone, he is crucial. Montoya gone on the wing too. I thought Kikau might have been gone, but he was able to get through. Well done to the Sharks. They played well, dominated this game. Nico Hines in great form at the moment, was facing a possible ban for a hip drop. I'm glad it got overturned in the sense I didn't think it was a hip drop, didn't think it was bad at all. But the circumstances in which it got overturned, it sounds like Vlandis Abdo came over the top of the match judiciary and overturned it because the injury wasn't that bad. Geez, that's opening up a can of worms, and I dare say if it was a Warriors player, Jacko Ford or someone like that, they wouldn't have got the same treatment, but that is a yarn for another day. I just don't think we can start punishing players based on the opposition and if they were injured or not, plus who the player is and that it's finals footy. Not 100% sure that was fair. I would have rather they just said the match review committee overturned it because they didn't think it was warranting a suspension, more just the fine. The fact that the NRL came over the top and reversed it certainly muddies the waters. But well done to the Sharks. Good win for them. Sunday, 2 high-scoring games, 2 teams scoring 60-plus to round us out. We had the Finns putting 62 on the Raiders, who scored 24, 86 points in 80 minutes. It was the same game multi's dream. I certainly hit a couple on this game. Raiders now can't win the comp either. Great year for them. Minor premierships, favourites to win the spoon. You all know the yarn. Well, no team has ever conceded 50 points and gone on to win the comp. So, Ricky Stewart, your boys are fucked, and that's what you get for making the NRL change our game from the Sunday to the Saturday to clash with the All Blacks. More on that soon. Eels 66, Knights 10. Knights get the spoon. I was actually happy to see that. Eels finished their year off with a bang. Spare a thought for Dylan Brown. He'd be 50-odd beers deep on Mad Monday, now questioning his decision to leave Para and go to the team that he just towelled up. I mean, the money's fucking good, 1.5 mil a year, so that probably makes it hurt less. But geez, the Knights in all sorts. Positives for them, of course, new coach. Rumours it could be Michael Checker, which will be interesting to see how he goes. Of course, ex-Wallabies coach. There's rumours they've signed Sandon Smith for 4 years as well. If that is true, grabbing him from the Chooks would be a great get. Chuck him in the 7, Brown at 6, Fletcher Sharp on a wing or in the centres. And then you got KP at the back. And saying that, $1.5 million for Dylan Brown to play 6 when they said they signed him as a 7. That would make it even more of an overpay. But yeah, enjoy the spoon, Newcastle. I was more glad that the Titans didn't get it, so this was a good result for me. But on to this week we go. Finals footy, the cream has risen to the top. 17 becomes 8. 9 teams go on a bender. The remaining 8 look to lock in to see who will be crowned champions for 2025. I have to say, this finals feels like it's the most wide open in recent memory too. You can sell me on at least 6 of the final 8 teams winning the comp, which is pretty bloody rare these days. I can't wait for this weekend's games, and I reckon this could be the first time in a long time where a team sitting outside the 4 goes on to win it. The next month of footy is going to be bums on edge of seats type of stuff. Kicks off tomorrow, Storm Dogs, Friday night footy. Of course, Tyron Wishart comes in at halfback, no Jerome Hughes. Nick Meaney, he goes to fullback with no Ryan Pappenhausen. Joey Chan named at centre for the time being. I see, though, Jack Howarth named on an extended bench. I reckon he will come in on game day. Joey Chan go to the second row, but keep an eye on that. The big news for them has to be, of course, Hughes out, but Grant back from suspension. They get Stefano back as well. Tui Kamikamica drops to the bench. I reckon having Harry Grant back for them is going to be huge for the Dogs. Inari Tuala shifts to centre, Blake Wilson and Jethro Wiranakama on the wings, because of course Cherry and Montoya gone. Kiraz named on an extended bench. I reckon if he's on the extended, he will come in and play, and that would be a huge boost for them. At the moment, I like Melbourne in this one. I just think the Dogs are in real trouble. I think they're going to kick to Coates and Brick and look to expose those Doggies wingers and their inexperience in Rinakama and Wilson. If Kiraz is able to play, that certainly helps the Doggies' causes. But I just don't see where the Dogs' points are going to come from. And while the Storm, their spine has been depleted, I still back Grant and Munster to be more creative and come up with points than I do this Bulldogs attack at the moment. I think it's going to be an arm wrestle. I don't think there's going to be many points scored, but the Storm have won 9 of their last 10 against the Doggies. The Dogs have only won 1 of their last 5 at Amy Park, and they haven't won a finals match since 2015. They are 0-7 in their finals run. The loser of this one will play the Warriors after we beat the Panthers, and I think there's a real chance. Dogs, if they lose this, they go loss, and they're out in straight sets again. I think it's going to be a good game, an interesting one to watch. I just have Melbourne winning it in a real tight tussle. And I think Harry Grant could put on a clinic after a couple weeks out, plus Bellamy will be spewing. His side's conceded 70-plus points over the last 2 weeks. Surely, even though down troops, they get up for this one. Super Saturday, Warriors, Panthers, 6:05, kickoff. Cheers to Ricky Stewart for kicking up a fuss. He wanted to play Sunday, wanted the longer turnaround. I believe the Warriors were meant to be that Sunday Arvo game. Sticky though, he's gone straight to the NRL. He said we're minor premiers, we should get to pick when we play. He's gone with the Sunday Arvo. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. A, because it clashes with the All Blacks. I don't get why the NRL would sign this off. The game is growing here massively. At the same time, the All Blacks had 1.3 million people tuning into Sky last week to watch that game. And while I don't think this one will be as widely viewed because the whole Eden Park factor added to it, and I do think a lot of people will prioritise the Warriors over the All Blacks. And I'm actually really interested to see the figures out of this, because we know league is growing here. Well, the viewership numbers will give us a real sense as to just how much it has grown. Of course, the All Blacks will outrate the Warriors. It is what it is, but I do think the gap is closing. I just don't get why the NRL even opens up that can of worms, because we have fans of both codes, like myself. Making us make a decision is bloody tough. Why not just stick to the Sunday? Then you avoid the conflict whatsoever. But it is what it is. It's another example of the NRL not really giving a fuck about New Zealand, despite what we did during the COVID period. All this goodwill we supposedly earned seems to have gone out the door. But it is what it is, and it's not going to affect the result. I'll still be at Mount Smart 100%. Just means have to watch the All Blacks on replay Sunday, which could have been avoided. But onto the teams. Warriors, Rocco out for the season. Curdy Capewell shifts from second row to centre. Leka Halasima comes in to start in the second row. Wade Egan is back. Jackson Ford is back. Sam Healy drops to the wider bench, and Tanner Smith no longer starting. He moves back to the interchange. Biggest talking points from that have to be, of course, Capewell in the centres. You see Tane there looming in jersey 18, and I do wonder if there is a switch there, in particular around the fact that Pompey has moved edges, because that's what they did when Chance came in. He partnered up with Roger. Pompey, he's partnered with Dallin here, which defensively is a move probably to shore up that edge. But it kind of does just lay the platform for Tane to potentially come back in. Then you go, Chans at centre. You move Curdy Capewell back to second row, Lecker to the bench. Eddie drops out. Looked like he was battling last week with that AC joint injury, so maybe he's not quite 100% ready to go. New South Wales Cup, of course, they got a big game this week, but they are already guaranteed a second life. Win, straight through to the GF. Lose, they have to play a prelim, so it's not do or die footy for them. NRL is always the priority. Would love to win both, of course, but it's going to be interesting to see who they send over. Healy and that team will be massive for them, but does Tane make his way into the 17? Personally, I would like to see it. More on that shortly. For the Panthers, Brian To'o, Liam Martin, they are back on deck after being rested and they will be ready to rip in. Huge news though, and I think this has been underplayed as to how big it is. Not many. Mitch Kenny out, missing the game with her hamstring injury. So Luke Summerton comes in at 9. A big call on the wing too. Ivan opting for Paul Alamotti over the milkman, Thomas Jenkins, who drops to 18th man. Just 2 months ago, Jenkins was training with New South Wales. Now, after Alamotti has 1 or 2 good games, he gets the nod. I reckon that has the potential to really disrupt them. Yeah, this is interesting for me. The Panthers, Mitch Kenny, I reckon he's a massive loss. He really ties up their middle, leads their line speed defensively, which is where he does his best work. He's that leader too, that hard-nosed guy, all-out effort. Ivan always talks about him in his book if you've read it. He's that cultural guy that just goes after everything and really sets the tone for them. When you look at their spine this year, Mitch Kenny, Blaze Talangi, Cleary, Dylan Edwards. Edwards down on form. Mitch Kenny no longer there. You chuck Summerton in with Cleary, Talangi, Edwards. It's not as scary as it used to be, that's for sure. Don't get me wrong, still a quality side stacked with talent, but I think this Mitch Kenny absence really favours us, in particular through the middle, which is where we're going to look to do our best work for sure. I also like us attacking that edge of Paul Alamotti and Isaac Tango. Neither of them regarded as great defenders. On that edge, we're pretty lethal. CHT, Lecker, RTS, that is a great attacking pairing if we stay that way as is currently named. So that's where I reckon we look to target them on attack, in particular in the red zone. I really like that no Thomas Jenkins selection for us. The last time the Panthers lost a finals game was 2021, that qualifying final against the Bunnies. They then went to go on and win the comp, of course. They've won their last straight 12 finals matches. They love playing on the biggest stages of the game. But we've won 3 of our last 4 finals games at home. Finals footy is a clean slate. Fish said it perfectly. So did Webby last week. It's time to go to war. What you've done beforehand no longer matters. I love the situation the Warriors are in at the moment. No one gives us a shot, except for the diehard faithful. Even some of the faithful are saying under their breath that they don't think we can do it. There is going to be a sea of blue, red and white at Mount Smart. The atmosphere is going to be electric and I think the fans are going to play a fucking huge part in getting us home. I love this situation for us. Complete underdogs, no pressure on our shoulders. Haven't been playing our best footy over the last 6 or 7 weeks. There's no denying that. But I reckon we just go after them in order to beat them. I've seen some people say we need to throw the ball around and play fuck it footy. I agree with that in some aspect. I think tackle 4, tackle 5, we need to mix it up a little bit. Play a bit of ad-lib, get some offloads going. At the same time though, we still need to get in the grind a bit. I agree, you can't out Penrith. They're the kings at it. Us, the Dogs, the Panthers, we all play a similar style of footy. That's that Penrith nursery style with our coaches. But if you hand the ball over, because you're just throwing the seed around, trying to throw them off their game, if you hand it over in bad field position, if you give them piggyback penalties, the Panthers will make you pay. So we still need to be clinical about our footy, get into our work, use our back 3 to truck nut, get our sets going. Fish, Aaron Clark through the middle, love to see it. Get Lecker the ball, tackle breaks, then 4th or 5th tackle, that's when Lecker and co do their best work. Offloads, bit of ad-lib, one-on-one stuff, and have a crack. We go at Alamotti, we go at Tango, we try make Edwards make mistakes, we kick the ball long to corners, in particular to To'o. We tackle him, we contain rather than contest, chop him on the seam. That takes away his 3rd tackle carry too, which he's so good at. We make Edwards and Alamotti make those yardage carries. I reckon that's the blueprint to getting it done. I can't wait. I think Egan's going to have a masterclass. I think they're going to miss Mitch Kenny so much. I will say it again. Great to have Jacko Ford back too for all his haters. I reckon he's pretty crucial to us this time of year. I reckon the boys are just ready to roll the sleeves up, eh? There's a real energy and buzz out at Mount Smart at the moment. Fuck what everyone else thinks. Let's just get after it. And I reckon Saturday night, we're going to witness history, eh? What better way to go through than by knocking off a team looking to win 5 titles straight? They're a dynasty of a football side. Ivan and Nathan coming back to New Zealand. Jet, of course, he's at the Warriors now. We've got Webby, we've got Fish. The storyline, the script is there for some rugby league poetry, and I believe in the footy gods, and I reckon they're going to deliver for us. I think we've got Grant Atkins as ref, which isn't great. No doubt the bunker will be doing their best to rob us and see Penrith go through, but I reckon we get them in a tight one. Take the unders. It's going to be an arm wrestle. More on that in the punting shortly. But up the fucking Warriors, baby. I reckon we're on, and I'm really interested to see what Webby does. 24 hours, even an hour out from kickoff with this lineup. Because I reckon there's a couple late changes to be made. But I know nothing about that. No inside noise, just guessing. And if this is the team, if this is the way we run out, 1-17 on paper, I will still well and truly back the boys. Sharks versus Roosters. Roosters, they arrived to finals in red-hot form. 5 of their last 6 games they've won. They've jumped from 10th into 8th. The Sharks, though, as I alluded to before, they've won 7 of their last 8. And to me, this is a really interesting situation for the Sharkies because I feel like in the last few years, they've come into finals footy with a whole lot of pressure on them. People have expected them to win and perform. But this year, I feel like the Roosters are the shiny toy that everyone is talking about this week. And the Sharks, at home, where they have a great record, they've won their last 6 straight games there. They come in as underdogs. People almost expect the Chooks to get up. So the Sharks, chip on shoulder, no real expectation. If they can knock them off, then that will be huge. They get a massive boost with Nico Hines playing as well. Of course, downgraded from a grade 2 to a grade 1. So he gets a crack to play this week, and that will be massive. His form over the last couple of weeks has been great. Braden Trindle, he's named to start after missing round 27 with an ankle injury. So Daniel Atkinson goes to 18th man. Britton Nikora named on an extended bench. Don't really get why you wouldn't just name him, because surely he plays. Fucking good player. Back from suspension. Great line runner. One of the best at punching lines in the NRL. Not the Brandon Smith version, more on-field. Shit does he run off a good seed. So, the Sharks, you'd have to say, apart from Cam McInnes, they're pretty much full strength for the Roosters. Same 17 that got the job done against the Bunnies in style last week. So, no complaints for them. Sharks have lost all 3 games, finals games against the Roosters. The Roosters have won 9 of their last 12 against the Cronulla boys. This one is going to be really interesting. I'm going to back the Roosters, just tight one. Noanganetawase and Tupou to be the difference, and I think a Sam Walker clinic could be at hand here. It was interesting. If you told me it was Hines and Atkinson, or even Trindle and Atkinson in the halves, rather than Hines and Trindle, I probably would have backed the Sharks in a little more. I just feel like those two, Trindle and Hines, play better football when the other guy isn't there. Interesting situation for sure. Super Sunday, Raiders, Broncos, looking forward to this one. Raiders, basically everyone back for them after resting last week. There was a bit of an injury scare around Josh Papali, but I see he's named. Picked up an ankle niggle in Friday's training, but I think he'll be good to go. Hopefully he is good to go as well. For the Broncos, Reynolds remains out. Benny Hunt, Billy Walters again in the halves. Dean Mariner comes back onto the wing because Shibasaki is back. Jesse Arthurs drops to 18th man. Crazy. He was in an Origin squad earlier in the year too. So plenty of competition for outside backs at the Broncos. Some massive matchups across the park in this game. I'm looking forward to it. KO Weeks against Reece Walsh at the back. There's a bit of chat around Reece Walsh leaving training early on Tuesday too, but apparently he came back out and kicked, so his calf can't be that bad. Expect him to be out there. Surely just next a couple bowls of toilet water for his recovery and he'll be good to go. Then you've got the battle of the playmakers. Fogarty against Ben Hunt. You got the battle of the forward packs. Tapane, Horsburgh, Papali up against Payne Haas. Some of the best in the game right there. I reckon this one is going to be a doozy. And for me, I really like Canberra in this one. The Broncos, they've lost 4 of their last 5 games at GIO Stadium. The Raiders have won 9 of their 10 games at home this year. The Raiders are looking to win their first title in 31 years, the Broncos in 19 years, so both will be up for it. They'll both get a second life, though, if they lose. I reckon the Raiders win through in this game. To me, they just have the perfect blueprint to beat the Broncos. In order to beat Brisbane at the moment, you got to shut down Payne Haas so that he can't get a roll on through the middle, and I think Canberra have the size and aggression in the forward pack to be able to do it. Because let's face it, the Green Machine have a fucking scary pack. Then you need to mitigate Reece Walsh. I think controlling Payne Haas goes a long way to doing that. The other way to do it, kick to corners, use your 7, the conductor, to pull the strings, make him work out of the areas he doesn't like doing so, and then load up on D. I think Fogarty's kicking game will do just that. I think they'll try to take Walshy out of this game, and I think they'll succeed too. I'm expecting Tapane and Co to have massive days. I think Canberra get up in a tight game to snap this Broncos impressive streak. But as I said, both get a second life, so it's not exactly do or die for them. So some massive games this week. Of course, the Warriors, the main one on the lips. I'll touch more on some stuff in the punting segment as well, but enjoy your finals footy. It's going to be fucking good. Shout out to the NRLW side too for the Warriors. Unfortunately went down last weekend. They finished their season this weekend, but what a debut season back in the comp for them. Ron Griffiths, the coach, just seems like an absolute roost, and there's been some real standouts for them first year back in the comp. And go well to the New South Wales Cup side too. Would love to see them win straight through. That would be massive. Up the Waz, up the Wahine, up the Cup. Fingers crossed, 3 from 3, clean sweep for the mighty Warriors this weekend. It's going to be all fucking go at Mount Smart. I'll see you out there. All Blacks, how good. What a performance from them. 51 tests unbeaten at Eden Park. The Fortress claims another scalp to the list. A great win and a great spectacle overall. Despite the old Auckland weather, shit in the bed. We had rain, we had thunder. I think it started off as a crystal clear night. Typical Auckland conditions, really. 3 seasons in the one day, but I thought the pre-game looked unreal. Eden Park looked a treat. The lighting there, they really turned it on. I thought the national anthems were fucking good too. Shout out to that Pacific Island choir. They nailed it. The South African one almost had me in tears. Can only imagine the scenes in Browns Bay. It would have been going off. Then the New Zealand one, they absolutely nailed. I thought the haka was as intense as ever. And then the game itself, it just carried on that momentum. You could tell this one meant a lot to the All Blacks. The way we celebrated big moments, it was World Cup final like. It had a different intensity. We rocked up with a different swagger. And in the end, it was a massive box tick for us. And what a relief it must have been for Razor and his coaching staff. Because there was no doubt after going down in Argentina that they would have been starting to feel the heat. Everyone had been circling this game. The anticipation, the build-up was massive. As soon as the draw came out, this was the game on everyone's lips. Our biggest test for the season, everyone was saying, and the All Blacks stood up, they responded, and the boys put in a good shift, which, fuck, you couldn't help but leave smiling and feeling bloody good about All Blacks footy, although we do have to back it up this week, otherwise it doesn't mean a lot. But a fast start for us, that went a long way to getting us the dub. A 14-point lead after 20 minutes, that was the difference in the end. As South Africa, I thought they closed out the game really strongly, but ultimately they weren't able to peg back that deficit. 2 converted tries in international footy, that's just too much to be down by in the end. And that start from us really did help seal our fate. I thought our starting forward pack was unreal. In particular, Simon Parker, Artie, Wallace, and Tupou Vaa'i. Simon Parker, I said the other week he sounded like an accounting firm, Simon Parker and Associates, but fuck is he an enforcer. His shoulders must have been bloody sore on Sunday. Him and Tupou Vaa'i, they weren't letting any of those South African forward pack through the middle. They dominated the defence around the ruck, both of them just putting in big shots. Those are some large South Africans too, but those two didn't shy away from it. You could tell they'd been set a task of ensuring that the physicality was at the highest level and not conceding any metres through the middle of the paddock, and shit did they rise to it, which has me bloody excited. I think Parker could well be that 6 that we've been looking for so long. I thought Tupou Vaa'i showed that he is definitely a lock, and I like that punch that Holland brings off the bench too. I thought Vaa'i was exceptional, but that balance in the loose forward trio, I reckon we've finally found it. Wallace at the back, Man, he just looks so calm. For such a young lad that hasn't played a lot of footy this year, he just looks so home at Test footy. Ardie Savea, I'll touch more on him shortly, but he dished up a clinical Ardie-like performance. And then Parker, for me, arguably our best forward, him and Tupavati on the paddock. I thought both of those two were exceptional. On Ardie, what a guy, leader on and off the field, a heck of a player, unreal bloke and a great teammate, and I was stoked to see the lads get it done in his 100th. It was heartbreaking we couldn't do it for Cody Taylor the week before, but the fact we got it for Ardie, that almost rights those wrongs. And for him to come up with that huge moment, that game-winning moment, right at the death, the big steal, just as South Africa are piling on the pressure on our line, backs against the wall, the boys are scrambling, but it's Savea who makes that play, gets the game-winning turnover. To me, that was rugby union poetry. Shakespeare Savea, you could call him. His response was perfect too, just pointing to the turf, saying, this is our house. You ain't fucking beating us at Eden Park. I just love watching that bloke play footy. What an occasion to bring the game 100 up on as well against his good mate and Sia Khaleesi. Great scenes after the game with Ardie's daughter and Uncle Sia. That video was a real heart-melting moment if you haven't seen it. But really the perfect scenario for Ardie to bring up 100 games against our greatest rugby rivalry, against his best mate in rugby. And arguably, those two are probably the most influential figures in world rugby at the moment, Savea and Sia Khaleesi. So to see him pull up this milestone and get the win against the Box and put in the performance that he did was just so cool. He's just the man. Even that video of him running out, the way he carries himself, the aura. Huge Ardie Savea fan, if you couldn't already tell. Off the bench, I thought D-Mac was really good. I thought Taukiaho was great as well. Both of them playing big minutes. And that's the thing to me. The All Blacks, they faced plenty of adversity in this one. It didn't exactly all go to script. We lost players early due to injury and HIA, but it seemed like 1 to 23, everyone was just up for it. And the guys stepped up. They came into the game and they executed the game plan perfectly. We didn't look rattled, where at times in the past, you know, often when a D-Mac or someone comes on like that earlier than planned, he can look a bit helter-skelter. I thought he was great, and Taukiaho, he was massive for us. For South Africa, I think it was a bit of an off night for them, to be 100% honest. Their fundamentals and the things they normally do so well really let them down, especially in that first 40. Handling errors, unforced errors, losing lineouts. We competed well and put them under a lot of pressure, but it's not like them to really struggle at set piece. So getting beaten at the breakdown, our counter ruck was massive, and I thought we dominated the physical areas as well. They hit their straps and they looked most dangerous in that last kind of 20 odd minutes, and they probably finished the game the better of the two sides, but by then the damage was done. Did make for a tense finish though, and a draw would have been a pretty horrible outcome for us because I thought we were the better team. South African scrum did dominate in the second half as well. They got the better of Lomax and Tamaiti Williams, although I expect those two, both short on minutes lately, especially at the international level, to bounce back a whole lot better this weekend. It wasn't perfect from the All Blacks. As I said, scrum time, we got a little dominated there. Our high ball worries continued in this game too. I was gutted to see Amoni Narawa leave the field after that first try. I reckon he would have made a big difference in terms of our high ball bomb defusal and our kick chase. I also thought we still kicked a lot of ball away, and I actually thought Finlay Christie played a pretty good game, but some of those box kicks, they're just too far, and geez, they get frustrating after a while. There was a fair bit of aerial ping pong being played, and it's not the greatest to watch. I know the crowd, they went fizzed every time the ball went up in the air, and saying that, the rain, the thunder, the conditions probably played a big part in that. Both teams looked comfortable to defend rather than play with the ball in their own half, and that's test match footy, to be fair. If you make errors at that level, opposition teams will make you pay, but still, high ball defusal and kicking game are biggest options. I still think the backline's not 100% clicking either, but we banked the win in what is arguably the most tightly contested rugby championship in a long time. The main thing, the main outcome from that game was to come away with the win to defend the fortress, and that's exactly what we did. So it is a massive box ticks for the AB's boys, in my humble opinion. So on to this week we march. Rasi, he's gone early as he attempts to split the series and grab a win at the Cake Tin, a venue where traditionally the All Blacks do struggle as well. Last time we played the Box there, 2019, they claimed a late draw, 16 all. In fact, 2014 was the last time we won in Wellington against South Africa. So it's been more than 10 years since the All Blacks have had a dub over the Box in the capital. But that is made to look worse than what it is when you factor in we've only played them twice there since 2014 for one loss and a draw. It's not panic stations, but every time we head down to the Cake Tin, I do get bloody nervous. Back to Rassi though, he's rolled the changes for this one. He's made 7 of them to the starting side, a new 9 and 10 pairing, and the most head-scratching one has to be the change in the midfield for me, with Moody moving into from the wing to centre. Jesse Creel getting moved out, dropping out of the side. You'd have to think that's injury-based. I haven't heard too much about it, but he's a bloody good footballer, and I think the All Blacks will be pretty relieved not to see him in the squad. To me, Sasha at 10, Fussy at 15 signals that they're going to play a bit more with the ball, which is a positive move from the Box after they just kicked everything that moved last week. A huge addition for them in the pack as well, with Jasper Ware coming back from suspension to wear the 8 jersey. He'll bring some physicality to that pack. He will be ready to rip in. No doubt he was watching that one absolutely spewing on the sideline as the South African forward pack got dominated with ball in hand at times. No Eben Etzebeth as well. He's been dropped. Again, Rassi goes with a 5-3 split, so no bomb squad this week in Wellington. This lineup, though, gives me more of an impression they're going to play some Tony Brown-style football, let the seed fly. Interesting call, really. I thought the Wellington conditions would have suited more of a kicking game, but with Sasha at 10, they can still play that kicking game as well, to be fair, so they're a bit more balanced, in my opinion. For the All Blacks, Amoni Narawa, he's out, of course. Caleb Clark called in. Noah Hotham, he's back, available to wear the 9, recovered quickly from that surgery, so that is a good boost. Cody Taylor, he's out with an HIA, so George Bell comes back in. Apparently Asafo Amoa not considered due to concussion, so Bell, the Christchurch hooker, gets the nod there. Another Crusader, pretty random from Razor. Luke Jacobson, he's back with the team and available to be picked. And then Cortez Ratama, again, seems like he's going to be a late game time call. I don't think they would roll the dice, though, unless he was 100%. So in terms of the side for this weekend, gets named today at midday. I can't see a crazy amount of changes. Taukiaho, he'll start for Cody Taylor, you'd think, with McAllister on the bench for him. That's probably the only change in the forward pack and the backs. As I said, still not quite clicking 100%, but I think they will be pretty settled as well. It's the back 3 for me that is of most interest. To me, there's 3 options. The first, Will the throw to 14, D-Mac to 15, like we rolled with once Imoni came off, and I think that worked. D-Mac looks so secure at the back. Then we have Caleb Clark. He could come in on the left wing. Rico moves to the right with Amoni dropping out. That might be the preferred option, with Caleb widely regarded as our best under the high ball and playing some good code for Auckland over the last couple of weeks. Third option, give Leroy Carter a debut or bring in the injury cover of Leicester Whainganuku. Personally, I think Leroy Carter, I'd love to see him debut, although I think they might save him for those Wallabies games a bit later on down the stretch. I can't see Leicester coming in, although they might feel like they have more of an opportunity to now that he's been in the camp for a week and was suffered another injury to an outside back. It's probably an easier sell to New Zealand Rugby and the NZ Rugby public, so that will be bloody interesting. So I think they go same front row, De Groot, Newell in your props, Taukiaho at hooker, Scotty B, Tupouva'i, Simon Parker and associates with Artie Savia and Wallace Satiti. Wouldn't be surprised if Finlay gets to start again in the 9 jersey just for his experience. I thought Kyle Preston was unreal off the bench, and I would love to see him keep the 21 jersey. Noah Hotham start at 9. That's what I would be rolling with. Just not sure if they would make that change. I think Bodie will be at 10, Geordie at 12, Proctor at 13, Caleb Clark on one wing, Rico on the other, and Will Jordan at the back with Hotham, D-Mac and Quinn on the pine. I just can't see them making wholesale changes because that team got it done and they deserve the chance to run it back. So really looking forward to this game on Saturday. I'll be catching the second half and glimpses as I'm at the Warriors on my phone, but it's fair to say I'll be locked into the Wars game. There'll have to be a replay situation for me on Sunday morning, but hopefully the All Blacks can get up and make it 2 from 2 against the Box on New Zealand soil this year. That would be a massive result for the lads and a huge feather in Razor's cap as he looks to mount his All Blacks coaching reign. NPC footy, big results last week. Obviously, Thursday night saw Counties beat Harbour 22 points to 19. Harbour had a chance to win this game, but we fucked it. Could be a long year. And saying that, I reckon we steal the shield off Otago in 2 weeks' time after they beat Canterbury next week to make this one of those seasons where that is all that is remembered. It almost saves us in a way, and this Harbour team becomes heroes despite only racking up one win across the year. Maybe I'm in dreamland. For some reason, I can just see it happening. Friday night footy, Otago beat Northland 29-10. Otago looking bloody sharp this year. Super Saturday, Hawke's Bay pumped Wellington 45 points to 19. Harry Godfrey, Zahn Sullivan, really impressive in that one. A huge result for the Magpies against their crosstown rivals. We had Manawatu beating Waikato as well, 36 points to 26. I thought Ngani Lau Mape was outstanding again with his physical ball running. For Southland, they got pumped, lost the shield, 54 points to 14 to Canterbury, and clearly the celebrations, they took their toll on Southland. Hard to blame them either. This was always going to be a tough task. Canterbury undefeated, they're 6 from 6. Stags, they would have sent it post-game, a couple days on the piss at least, and who can blame them? What an achievement it was for them to win the old log of wood. I thought Canterbury, though, their loose forward trio, they were so good around the paddock. Tom Christie, what a player and a leader he is. Bit sad to see him heading overseas, become a bit of a battler in terms of his regard in New Zealand rugby at the moment, but shit is he reliable and always plays some good footy. I thought that Canterbury defence was exceptional and they were just way too talented for this Southland side. Sunday, huge score. Bay of Plenty 43, Taranaki 17. I think the game was a little closer than the score looks. Taranaki had multiple opportunities to score points. They just couldn't ice it. I thought Bay of Plenty were really good, getting back into the winner's circle. Loving the form of Naitoa Akoi at the moment. I thought Whinianga Nofo was outstanding. 3 tries for him, looking deadly out wide. The NZ7's convert. When Bay of Plenty get it right on their day, they're well and truly up there with the top teams in the competition. And they certainly got it right in this one. Taranaki, they will be looking to bounce back big time this weekend. And then the final game saw Auckland get a dub and get off the nudie run. A big win for them in Blenheim, 29-21 over Tasman. I think Tasman, they were certainly tanking for the shield. They decided to rest their bodies. Some big names didn't lace up, but take nothing away from Auckland. They had a big week of training, honesty sessions, the works. But I thought they were really good. That young forward pack stood up. Segner, Shea Clark in particular, really good in the loose. And I thought Caleb Clark and Tangito were lethal on the edges. Auckland still with slim playoff hopes. I think that if they win out from here, then they will make the finals. Just a good result for them, though. People were really starting to weigh in on them. So that is a good victory. This week, NPC code tonight, you got Northland, Wally. Northland underdogs at home, heavy dogs. I really like them in this game, but more on them in the punting segment. Friday sees Waikato host Harbour. I'd hoped this was going to be a Shield challenge a couple weeks back. It is not, but Waikato on a bit of a losing streak, so maybe Harbour smell blood in the water. They will be heading in massive underdogs, as always. Is this the week we get off the zero, the old donut? I hope so. But I'll probably still back Waikato at home. Bay of Plenty, Hawke's Bay on Saturday. Saturday's a huge day of sport. You got this game, Otago Taranaki, 2 top shelf NPC games, into the Warriors, into the All Blacks, into the Wallabies, Argentina as well. Fucking strap yourself in. Bad day to be a couch and a Sky Sports subscription. That is for sure. But Bay of Plenty, Hawke's Bay, Battle of the Bay, 4th versus 5th. Arvo footy, set the Arvo footy in Tauranga, bloody hard to beat. I think Bay of Plenty will get up, but I do expect it to be really damn close. And Otago versus Taranaki, 2nd versus 3rd. I wouldn't mind seeing Otago get up here. I just enjoy watching them play. Pledger at 9, he's a weapon, although you do expect Taranaki will be stinging after last week, and I think they will show up a lot better, that's for sure. Sunday sees Auckland take on Manawatu, Southland Counties, and Canterbury versus Tasman. Canterbury versus Tasman, of course, that is a Shield challenge. I think Canterbury, though, at home, just too good. I think Tasman losing guys like your Ethan Blackadder, losing Leicester to All Blacks camp, Tim Tavatavanawai out injured. I just wonder if that injury toll is really going to hurt them, in particular in the forward pack, and I think this Canterbury pack, 1 to 8, could be too strong. That's the one side that you don't expect would celebrate too hard and lose the log in the first week. They would have been pretty calculated about things. They would have known the challenge against Tasman was on its way, and they will want to get up for this one for sure. In terms of my power rankings, Hawke's Bay, they climb into 6th, Tasman drop to 5th, Bay of Plenty 4th, Otago 3rd, Taranaki 2nd, and Canterbury 1st. I've held off for too long, chucking them in top spot, but being 6 from 6 and after Punting, Southland, now they've got the log of wood. It's bloody hard not to put them at 1. Shout out to the Black Ferns, 40-0 over Ireland. Got a quarter-final against the Box this week in the Rugby World Cup, playing great footy. Sorensen McGee, she looks unreal. Georgia Miller carving up too. I thought we were bloody clinical in that game. Our best performance by a country mile. And we look like we're building nicely. We'll spend more time on them next week as things really start to heat up in that Women's Rugby World Cup. And shout out to Australia too. Rolled the dice, final minutes, went for the try, got rewarded. Thoroughly enjoyed that game, watching it at the pub in Australia. Actually watched it with Jake Gordon, shared a few tins with him. Wallabies half, Waratahs half, heck of a bloke, currently injured with a hamstring. He took a real liking to me too. We really bonded over the piss, that's for sure. Great human being, so shout out to you, Jake. Well done to the Wallabies though, great win. Suali'i, Lenny Ikitau filming a nice combo in the midfield. Thought Max Jorgensen looked fucking dangerous. And their pack, led by Wilson and co, they got some real mana about them, a bit of mongrel. And that Argentina side came hard for them, started fast, but the Wallabies, they never rolled over, and in the end they got rewarded in Townsville. Great scenes right there. All right, time for a Carmichael punt now. Finals footy, so hopefully can tip you into some winners, just the 4 games. Then we'll rip into some rugby and some NFL. Friday night footy, Storm $1.50 favourites, Dogs $2.60. The Storm, they've won 9 of their last 10 against the Doggies. The Dogs, they've only won 1 of their last 5 games at Amy Park, and they haven't won a finals game since 2015. As I alluded to before, I reckon straight set season is coming up for them again. For your try scorer, Xavier Coates, 41 tries in 37 games at Amy Park. He scored 6 tries in his last 5 games, didn't score last week. I reckon he jumps all over the Bulldogs' inexperienced wingers. He's going to be a real kick target for Bellamy and the Storm as they'll look to expose Wilson and Rinakama. $1.85, great shout for him. I like Ali Katoa as well, 2-game try scoring streak. He's at $2.75. And then the brick, Will Warbrick, dotted last week, $2.25 for another big, high-flying, wicked winger. That seems like really good value for the Doggies. Are they ready? I don't think they are. And Ari Tuala, 4 tries in his last 3 games. He's in the centres this week, not on the wing, but he's paying $4.10, which is some pretty big money. For your same game multi though, I'm going Storm. I like Coates and Katoa to dot as well. Nice little 3-legger there. If it misses by 1 on your Friday night footy, you get your money back in bonus cash up to $50. $5.24 rugby league cents for that one. Super Saturday, this is where it gets interesting. 2 lip lickers, and I love the odds on this Warriors-Panthers game. It'll come as no surprise. I've just harped on about it. I'm well and truly in on the Wars. $3.20, Panthers $1.35. We've won 3 of our 4 finals games played in Auckland. Block out the rest of the stats. They're not in our favour, but that is the only one that matters. Everyone knows, come finals time, the comp resets. We're bloody good in finals footy at home. The Panthers have won 9 of their last 10 against us. Ignore. And they've won their last 12 straight finals matches. Certainly ignore that one for your try scorers. Wets, 6 tries in his last 7 games. He's switched to the right, so let's see how he goes there. Try scoring wise, he's paying $3.70. In terms of areas that I think we attack, I touched on before, our left side. To me, that's a big advantage. CHT, Leka, Roger going up against Tango and Alamotti. 2 players not known for their defensive prowess, so pick your poison out of those 3. Get on one of them. I like Leka at $3.75. If he does start, I reckon that's overs. Paul Alamotti, 6 tries in his last 5 games. He's scored in every single one as well, paying $1.87. No doubt he'll be popular on people's bet slips, as will Brian To'o and Casey McLean, because that is our weakest side defensively. To'o, 6 tries in his last 5 games against the Warriors. He's fresh off a rest at $1.91. And then McLean, 6 tries in his last 5 games, 3 in his last 2, paying $2.35. Now, Wets is named to switch to that edge, and I love him defensively, but Casey, he is a freak, and I'm surprised we still get those odds for him after his try-scoring form this year. For some value, Isaiah Papali'i, 3 tries in his last 5 games. He's paying $8.50, and Lindsay Smith, he also scores at a decent rate at $7.75. My same-game multi, Warriors 1-12. Love that. That's paying $3.90, which is a great single game bet. I'm going to chuck it on my multi here. Then I'm going to go unders for the points total, under 43.5. I reckon we're going to drag them into a grind, a low-scoring affair, and the Mount Smart faithful will get us home here. And then I like Lecker to dot on that left side, $22.75 for that multi. Warriors 1-12, unders, Lecker my balls. That is a good payday, so hopefully that comes in. Sharkies 2.10, Roosters $1.73. Sharks have lost all 3 finals games against the Chooks. The Chooks have won 9 of their last 12 against the Sharkies. And the Sharks, though, they've won their last 6 straight at Shark Park. So they get up at home, and they're in a nice little run of form as well. For your try scorers, Mark Nowanganetawasi, 7 tries in his last 2 games, $1.58. Don't need to sell you on him, the old flying Fijian. Daniel Tupou, the Giraffe, 3 tries in his last 3 games against the Sharks, and 4 tries in his last 4 games in general at $1.87. Value play, the hot pirate, Connor Watson, scored last week. He's got a 50% strike rate when he plays against the Sharks in a Roosters jersey. Actually saw him last weekend outside a bar, which I think is a good omen at $5.80. Sharks winger, Ronaldo Mulitalo, 45 tries in his last 42 games at Shark Park. He scored 4 tries in his last 4 games against the Chooks, and he's paying $1.92. AFB, 2 tries in his last 4 games against the Chooks as well. $4.60 for the big bopper to crash over. Tricky Trindle, he's a pattern bet, of course. Back in the side this week after missing last week with injury. He's gone try, no try in his last 4. For him to score here, you'll get $4.60 as well. My same game multi, though, I'm going to go the Chooks in a tight one. I think they get up. They're just in such good form at the moment. I don't feel confident around it. The Sharks have got this weird vibe about them at the moment, but I just think the boys from Bondi might be a little too hot, so I'm going to go them 1-12 into the wicked wingers. Mark and Toops, $6.77. That 1-12 really adds some value to that bad boy. And then Super Sunday, Raiders $1.68, Broncos $2.20. The Raiders, they've won only 1 of their last 4 finals games. The Broncos have lost 4 of their last 5 at GIO, though, and the Raiders have won 9 of their 10 games at home this season. They love playing in Canberra. For your try scorers, Reece Walsh, the plumber, he scored 6 tries in his last 5 games. He scored 3 in his last 6 against the Green Machine. He's paying $2.65 if he can get through that baby calf niggle. Kirapani, he scored in his last 4 straight games, $2.20. That's not bad. And then Shibba, the bad boy, old sober Shibs, 3 tries in his last 2 games, $2.80. For the Raiders, Ethan Strange, he jumps out at you. 7 tries in his last 6 games at GIO Stadium. He scored 5 tries in his last 3 games in general. $3.75. He will be fucking popular. Value play here, Simi Sasagi. Loved what he's produced this year. Coming off the bench, all starting. He's a try-scoring threat. This one he's off the bench, but he's scored in his last 2 games. He's paying $7.25. I reckon he'll get enough minutes, and here's enough of a weapon to prove to be some real value. $7.25 for Sasagi, a guy on a 2-game try-scoring streak. Look, I don't blame you if that's too good to pass up. He'll probably be sneaking his way onto my slips in a single. My same game multi, though, Raiders 1-12. I think that home ground advantage gets them up into Ethan Strange and Kirapani at $17.10. Then if you want to run a finals results multi, something a little bit Ivan Leary, Storm head-to-head, then I'm going to go Warriors 1-12, Chooks 1-12, Raiders 1-12, $48.35. How good is finals footy? I reckon we're in for 4 great games this weekend. All Blacks, $1.55. South Africa, $2.40. Winning team and margin, your best backed is All Blacks 1 to 12 at 2.90, 13 plus at $3. Not a lot of difference there. South Africa 1 to 12, they're at 3.70, and 13 plus is at 6s. As I alluded to before, they don't mind heading to the cake tin, so maybe there's some value there in South Africa 1 to 12 at $3.70. Being the patriot I am, you'll never find that on my bet slip. All Blacks 1 to 12 is where I'll be heading. My best bet though, again, I tipped it out last week at 1, so I'm jumping back on either team, 7.5 points at $2.50. Yes, please. Was also on Will Jordan, as you'll all know if you listen to the pod, so that was a nice little green tick. Back him in again. We don't know what position he's playing in at time of recording, but either way, death taxes and Will Jordan for a meaty. So get around it. Taukiaho, also a good option. Rolling maul bet, although that box pack is going to be up for this one physically. I reckon it's going to be a tight game. The line is 4.5. Wouldn't mind slapping that in too, but either team within 7.5 at $2.50 and All Blacks 1 to 12 at $2.90. My best bets before you factor in some try scorers. NPC, round 7, underway tonight. Excited for this one. I genuinely think there's value here. Northland 260, Wally $1.47. I like Northland here. I reckon that's the best bet of the weekend. If you wanted to get carried away, you could take them 1 to 12, but I reckon on the odd chance they pump them, it's safer to go the 260 head to head. I do expect it'll be close, but I haven't been that impressed by Wally at all, and Northland have shown that they are up for it this year. They're playing with a lot of pride. They got Rivers Rehana at 10 steering them around, a hearty forward pack. So I reckon they get the chockies. My other bets for this weekend, I'm going to go Bop head-to-head over Hawke's Bay at $1.55. I'm going to back Southland to bounce back over Counties at $1.60. I think Canterbury will beat Tasman. Don't mind Otago for the upset at the Sistema lunchbox, and Auckland Manawatu. No Caleb Clark for Auckland. I will go with Manawatu for the upset. Why not? Up the turbos and you can get fucked, Auckland. NFL, what a week one we had on the punt last week. Had a nice little same game multi in the Bills-Ravens game, the game of the weekend. What a match that was. Right down to the wire. Bills looked done for, trailing by 15 in the final quarter. I think I saw a stat, like the ESPN score predictor, win predictor, had them at 0.01% of a chance to win that game. But still they came back. The new kicker clutched it. Josh Allen was great, and the Bills continue their impressive home record. That was great. I also tipped out 5 head-to-head games on the pod last week. Head-to-head tips, hit on 4 of them. So I've started the season in good form. KC losing to Herbert in the Chargers ruined my perfect week. So I'll look to be a little bit better, but still 4 out of 5. You certainly can't complain about that. Plus the same game multi. Ever been to India? We'll get that India. This week, I like the Packers to beat the Commanders on Friday in a one-off game. That one, your full fizz Friday again. 3+ leg, same game multi there. Misses by 1, you'll get your money back, similar to the NRL. So I recommend you chuck a nice little same game on that. Then on Monday, your head-to-head bets. I like the Rams to beat the Titans. I like the Bills to beat the Jets, but the Jets do look decent. I like the Lions to beat the Bears in Detroit. I think the Cowboys bounce back at home against the Giants after looking a lot better in week 1 than I thought they would. I also think CeeDee Lamb, he'll bounce back, so chuck him in for a touchdown as well. Some disappointing and uncharacteristic drops for him in week 1. I think the Ravens, they should beat my Browns, unfortunately. 49ers should beat the Saints. I like the Bengals at home against the Jags. Joey B versus Trevor Lawrence. You got Travis Hunter, Jamar Chase in there, so that should be a fun game to watch. And then, biggest game of the weekend. Chiefs host the Eagles. 8:25 a.m. Monday morning. Eagles $1.85. Chiefs $1.98. The Eagles will be without Carter. Of course, spat on Dak Prescott. After Dak spat on him first, to be fair. But Cowboys, they're like the Broncos or the Roosters or the NFL. Everything they do wrong seems to get overlooked. But I like the Eagles still. I'm not sold on the Chiefs this year, and I'd love to see them go 0-2 to start the season. For me, they've got that Crusaders factor about them, just because they were always winning. I like seeing other teams win, so I think I'm going to get the Eagles away in a close one. Not confident on it, though, so maybe you just go touchdown scorers, and hopefully Philly throw the ball to AJ Brown. That killed me in my week 1 fantasy matchup. So, look, Hurts, if you're listening, get that arm slinging, mate, and feed my boy Brown. But another great weekend ahead on the punt. Only the 4 NRL games, but they should all be quality. Lots of NPC, All Blacks footy. You got the NFL. There's plenty of other sporting action as well if you want to diversify the portfolio. The ponies, the greyhounds, they're always running too. So get around it. Good luck on the tea and biscuits if you're having a flutter this weekend. And as always, please gamble responsibly and only bet within your means.